I'm Martin Coleman. I used to be the executive director of the group, but now we're under a different management scheme. And that's, I think, it's been well worth it. I think the group being now managed with its directors taking the key roles, I think is really important. So SIG as it is now it's modernised, it's younger. And that, I think, is key to everything we do. We do need to bring everyone on board. It's not like just because we've been here for so long. We got to think about the future. And the one thing old people do is we reminisce. It's useful. History needs to be looked at. But to be honest, it's always forward-facing. And I believe IRG as we were and SIG as we are now is really forward-facing. And I wish it well. And on that note, my role is simply to be an advisor to the group, and that's what I try and do. Well, anybody listening to this, me and STEM, it's close to the heart. It's something I believe in, and actually do. But the STEM system as we know it is, I think, broken. In the UK, it probably is not. I don't think it's fit for purpose. I will state that now. I work with my local school who are astounding. It was quite scary to start thinking about how do we get, I've always believed we've got to get young people, not when they're in university, how do we get them to university to study the things they really want to do? And that doesn't mean aerospace or space. I'm talking about whatever they want to do. We're keen, we want to build space. Excuse me. We want to actually build the resources so we get great people in our industry. And we need choice. And the workers need choice. Whoever they're going to be, they need to be able to choose too. So my role has been at my local school simply to put space on their agenda. But the difference is, whereas STEM, I used to be a STEM ambassador, it didn't work. It was good, but you ended up doing jobs. They asked me to do a biology project. I don't do biology. I have no idea. This school runs the STEM. The students are the STEM ambassadors. That is totally turning things on its head, and it works. It's brilliant. It's so innovative. They've got a future classroom. They got a dice with the mic in, and when someone next speaks, you throw the mic over. It's simple as that. Kids interacting, whiteboards everywhere, virtual reality headsets, just presentations, whatever. And we do space in there. We do, in that classroom, we've done space. We're now even somewhere I didn't think I'd get to, but I'm dealing with the primary schools, working with them so that what their entry when they're coming to the high school, the secondary school, whatever you like to refer it to. It's a big step. I remember that as a kid. That was frightening, going from one school to another. It's bad enough starting school, then you get frightened going to school, and then the next one, and so on. Well, we aim, it's about careers, but this school knows what I can deliver. And it's got many industries and employers in the area to volunteer. And it's local. It's only 8 miles away. It's, that's what, 13 kilometres. It's an easy ride, and I get to do what I like. The bit I love. And that's where the enthusiasm and the passion, you transfer it to young people, and I'm pleased to say I now have 5 students from that school are all going to university to either do astrophysics, mechanical space, aerospace design, and some of those also on apprenticeship schemes with some very big names we all know and close to our hearts in not just the UK but globally. I've got 5. For me, it's taken 4 years to get 5 people. If each one of us out there did this, everyone went to their local school and got maybe just 2. I think just in the UK we'd have plenty of new aerospace engineers. And that's it. It's simple equation, guys. I appeal to you, just do it. That's all you've got to do. It's simple. You just ask the school, and if they don't know how to do it, ask me, and I'll put you in touch with the people that know how to do this, because we just got to spread the good news. Because the way this school, and it's in Shaftesbury in Dorset, I'm proud of it, and it's proud to be a part of doing this future classroom thing. It's just a room. Unbelievable what you can do in a room. I expect to the outside world, and I hope this makes people, there's a bunch of geeks in a room somewhere doing stuff. And I don't think people appreciate how the space, what we rely on in space. And two real key things here. Physical space, and we all know about debris, but the missing component here is spectrum. Spectrum, as we know, but not generally out there, is a resource. And we're fundamentally at a point now is that instead of looking as we used to think of frequency problems, interference, it's called, we don't like using the I word, but there you go, that's what it is called. So radio frequency interference is what the group deals with. It's a really not a great subject. It's hard work. Nobody wants to talk about it. It doesn't happen, denial, denial, denial. However, there's great people been doing this for a long time, but the world's changing. We're very used to this thing called geostationary satellites. That's what I grew up with. I've been very happy about that because I can just about do the maths for that and find out where they are, because they all live on the equator, and that's a piece of cake. I love it. I can do that. All of a sudden, someone invented MEOs and LEOs and HEOs and all sorts of EOs going around this planet. So now my life is very complicated. And we now align with the Space Situational Awareness. You've heard of that, SSA, often referred to. Well, we invented the term S3A. We added another S. Spectrum is on the move. It's not a fixed type problem that it's coming from one place, going to a satellite, and we got this signal that shouldn't be there. We don't know where the signal's coming from next, because whose constellation is running past someone else's constellation, or GEO, or MEO. The good news is we've actually got some work, and because we're geeks, we do daft things, and COVID didn't stop us. We've got experiments, and the exciting thing is that because of SIG, we're trying for an ESA project, not the group, this is something as a private enterprise, where we're actually looking at spectrum in its true 3D perspective. Nothing like we've been used to. This is where a group like SIG goes. It takes technology, ideas, inspiration, and that becomes innovation. It seems a bit cliche, innovation. Everybody uses that word now. We're beginning to think we have to change the name again, think of something else. It's got to be better, But don't worry. It's fundamentally where we're going. That's what the group does, and because that's inspiration, putting that third S in, you think that's crazy. What's that going to do? It changed the way we're thinking. And if we're going to get over and look forwards and look what tomorrow's problems are, let alone today's, but tomorrow's, we have to get real and start changing the way we do business in the group. And we're doing it right now here at QuadSat. This is an amazing place anyway, and you've got young people doing great technology. It is astounding, this area of Denmark. It's robotics, everything. It's fantastic. Just get over here, have a visit, whatever, you'll be welcome. And they've got the most amazing sort of museum here too. That's something else, we'll leave that. So look it up on Google, it'll be good. Well, I think a satellite operator are a must. They know they have problems, and we know the commercial side of satellites doesn't want to really discuss it. But we've moved on from those days. We can talk about it, but we're very realistic that we can't. The commercial aspects of our business, we have to be flexible. We can't just put rules down. We're not really. We've just had a big discussion about a rule on antennas. Everybody knows the antennas are always the key piece of this puzzle. But you can't put a hard line on any of this. There are horses for courses. There's flexibility, and we've got to look at the technology that tells us what hard lines there are, but we then work out what's possible. So it's not really failure. Yes, there's some things in the world, but If only all the operators just joined, even just be, an associate manager, something simple, not asking for a lot. You just listen to the conversation, then you'll understand. You will know it already, but you will understand truly why you should help and make the changes we're going to need. Because if you're not thinking about what's happening in space and you're just happy to be in geo as an operator, fine. But you really need to open your eyes, and this group is an eye-opener on the world of spectrum. And manufacturers, well, antenna manufacturers especially, you'd be more than welcome. We want to know what the difficult things are. We're pretty good at knowing what they are already. But we would welcome you all. We welcome LEO operators especially, because it's not because you're a problem. This technology is fantastic. Love it. Want it. But we've got to manage ourselves. And we need, if we're going to get spectrum, keep it clean. And we've had a very good run of late from stuff we did in the past decade. But we're going to lose the plot again if we don't keep up and move the technology to deal, like drone technology from QuadSat. We need that. It's a must. And if you don't think it is, come here and listen. Come here and learn. I think we're an input group to the industry. It's not about us making rules. We get the facts right about the problem. And we deal with spectrum. We support the debris initiatives, but we don't do debris. We're aware of it, of course. But we deal with spectrum, the other bit that's not often talked about. Biggest achievement, funny enough, they're going to go, oh, it's Martin Coleman, he'll say carrier ID. Yes, it's brilliant. But it wasn't, because we weren't solving the right problem at the time. But we had momentum about solving RFI. And carrier ID simply got us to a point. And the technology to do carrier ID was the answer to the big problem we had for a long time, which was the TDMA, VSAT, burst mode type systems, which, millions of terminals out there. That was the thing we could never fix quickly, if at all. The technology of carrier ID improved the way we monitored things, the way we did things, and some clever people, some from the group, some from outside. It always takes a team of people working together. The group is just a place we can try and join and glue good people together and just get conversation going. That came to a product that's now part of Kratos as an example, but others do it now. So Kratos, Atos, I think Safran does as well. But anyway, and that's this sort of SatGuard approach. It was a unique way of detecting a rogue terminal out of millions. And that was so fast now, they don't even have to think about VSAT as a problem. And if any of you know this stuff, it was a problem. We had transponders that couldn't be used for years. You chase one thing. You didn't even know out of 100,000 terminals which ones were doing it. This system can say it's those 5. It's amazing. That was the achievement. Technology, using our brains, working together, make it happen. Because if you don't work together, it's not going to happen. I think it's the challenge of being able to speak about spectrum issues openly and properly. When you talk about an issue like interference, the problem for the commercial side of our industry is it looks like we're bad. It's like we've got problems. Actually, the industry is really good at what it does. That's the point. Satellite is often the last line of communications after any disaster or whatever. Satellite is the last thing that works. And I'm proud to be part of that, and a lot of us are too. But we still have issues. There are still problems that cost operators and manufacturers money. If you can get rid of that, things get cheaper, the services prices will get cheaper. If we manage what we do better, it's all it's about. It's just being sensible with the resource of spectrum. Whatever the decisions made by ITU and fights with the mobile industry and 5G and C-band and all that, it's all in our remit to try and work through a way that we can discuss it, that it doesn't frighten the commercial arm of our industry. We don't kill the industry, but it has to be talked about. And SIG has done and is doing a great job in making that happen. What is a very tricky subject, as we all know, to even talk about. But the great thing about a workshop, we really pull everything's off. Everything's off the record. We just get deep dive into all sorts of things, and it is amazing where we get some ideas from. That's the great bit. I think we're finally getting to understand LEO. Now, it seems a daft question. We all know how it works, but I'm involved commercially in interfaces to building gateway systems, and that has really put me in touch now about the things we could build into systems that would protect the spectrum environment. And today we're going to have a discussion on that, something we've never talked about, because now our group, our geeks, are finally starting to learn how this all works. We know how it works, but really get into it. The insights of how systems work, where we think a problem's going to happen. So instead of waiting for the problem, we're trying to design it out. We're going to manage our way through. That would be the great ideal. I am sure at the beginning of life we're going to have a few moments of terror, and I think some of that interference there'll be a growth, but it'll be a different sort of interference. That's what I was saying earlier. It's the new problem, new likely problem, but it's not a problem. It all can be managed, and it can be done, but we got to get smart. It's simple. We just make every piece of kit that goes out there smart enough to deal with it, and maybe probably 99.398 that we don't have a problem. The services win. The customer gets exactly what they want, and you have no, as operators or whatever you are, no cost. And for manufacturers, we make the interfaces simple and keep it simple. We all know the KISS principle, so that's the aim. It's going to be hard. Always has been. Can't see it changing.